Aloha, and welcome back to Yama Studios. My name is Hannah Maruyama. I am a scalp micropigmentation practitioner here at Yama Studios, which is a paramedical tattoo clinic based in Honolulu, Hawaii. Today, we are going to answer one of the most frequently asked questions about scalp micropigmentation, and that is, what is scalp micropigmentation? In its current form, scalp micropigmentation only started in the early 2000s, and what it is a cosmetic tattoo solution for hair loss. It's non-surgical, it's completely effective because it's just depositing tattoo pigment into the scalp in order to create a 5 p.m. shadow. The goal of scalp micropigmentation is to cover hair loss. This is really a great solution for anyone, because it ranges from those who are completely bald and ready to shave their heads, and also even reaches to those who have longer hair with concentrated areas of thinning, as it can reduce contrast between the scalp and the hair and also create the illusion of thicker hair. There's no downtime for it, it's not painful, and it's a very quick solution for those who need a practical answer to hair loss. So scalp micropigmentation technically is a hair tattoo. The procedure is using a small digital tattoo machine, a different sort of pigment from traditional tattoo ink, and then a different technique in order to apply hair follicle replication tattoos. It sounds really technical, but what I really mean is it's just thousands of tiny dots. Scalp micropigmentation primarily is a hair loss solution. It was developed because there's really nothing between hair loss drugs and hair transplant surgery, both of which have really negative side effects. If you get a transplant, there's a high probability it won't work. And even if it does, you might not have enough density, or you might get a scar from it on the back of your head. And with hair loss drugs, there can be serious side effects as far as different hormonal issues. And then while they are effective, there's just a lot more negative associated with them than there is positive. This is pretty universal across people struggling with hair loss, and out of that came SMP, or scalp micropigmentation, because there's no downtime, there's no risk, and it's non-surgical. It also doesn't involve any form of drugs, so it's a really good solution for people who are looking for a fix. They want it fixed, they don't want to interrupt their lives in order to have this solution, and they also don't want to take medicine in order to solve their hair loss issues. It's completely effective because it's a tattoo. While it is a tattoo, it's very different from a regular tattoo in that the method of application, the pigment used, and then also the machine used are all different. They're specially designed for SMP. So most folks think that it may be a little bit extreme to tattoo your head, but with the current technology that is available, SMP is quickly becoming one of the most popular treatments for hair loss. Almost everybody can have scalp micropigmentation, and it can be really useful for filling in problem areas or addressing other hair loss concerns. SMP, or scalp micropigmentation, is a form of paramedical reconstructive tattoo. It can be used in these three major ways. There are different applications, but these tend to be the three main categories. The first one is going to be for folks who are suffering with diffuse thinning. Diffuse thinning is when you lose volume of hair. So the amount of hair that you have is reduced all over. You usually still maintain your hairline in diffuse thinning, but you'll notice that there's more of a noticeable contrast between your scalp and your hair. And what that means is that you've lost a good deal of hair, so your scalp is much more prominent than it was before. Now, SMP is fantastic for this, because you can go in between in the diffuse areas where you have lost hair and are experiencing thinning, and you can fill in and create density in those areas. Now, most people believe that you need to be completely bald in order to have SMP, and so they'd be surprised to learn that a lot of people who get SMP actually have diffuse thinning instead of complete baldness. That being said, on my second point, if you are completely bald, then SMP is perfect for rebuilding your hairline and creating this entire shaved stubble look that's really easy to maintain and super low maintenance. And then third is going to be people who come in for basically medical reconstruction, which is going to be scars, skin grafts, and then ironically enough, hair transplant scarring. So a lot of men or women have U-shaped hair transplant scars from the donor area where hair is pulled from, and that actually needs to be covered up after a transplant, even if it is successful. So those are the main applications of scalp micropigmentation, but there's really no limits to what it can do. So it's definitely worth looking into if it may be able to solve whatever your major concern is. So while scalp micropigmentation is a fairly quick procedure, it does take 2 to 3 sessions of layered heel tattoo in order to get the finished result. The reason for this is because you do want to make sure that the skin has time to heal and the pigment has time to settle before you add in different layers. When you're adding in different layers for SMP, sometimes a different pigment is used, so a different color. Sometimes practitioners will use a different size needle. I personally do because I find that varying the size of the hair follicle tattoos lends to a more realistic and natural result. So for me, I have clients come in on their first appointment, which usually takes about 2 to 4 hours because it is a very, very delicate and intricate process. And then after that, there's a minimum of 7 days in between their first and second appointment, and then a minimum of 7 days between their second and third appointment. And usually for appointment times, as far as the actual hours spent in the studio, they go in descending order. So the first one is always the longest because we have to build a foundation for the rest of your SMP. So 2 to 4 hours on the first one, and then I would say probably about 2 to 3 hours the second one. Usually the last appointment is the quickest, somewhere between, it's usually about 2 hours, sometimes 1.5. It really just depends on the level of loss you were experiencing and the level of reconstruction we're doing. But that is the general overview of how much time and how fast you'll get to the complete result. So I know that that was a lot to unpack, but I hope that this video answered your question, what is scalp micropigmentation? There's tons more videos about scalp micropigmentation on my channel. Please feel free to check those out. If you liked this video, then thumbs up, subscribe to see more like this so you get notified when I post. And then if you want to get in touch with me, please feel free to visit our website at yamastudios.co. If you have a question about scalp micropigmentation, you'd like a consult, or you'd like me to recommend a practitioner in your area, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. If you have questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, go ahead and drop those in the comments below. I might even make a video about one. So thank you so much for watching today. Again, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you and aloha.